Hello, you're with Libby from libbystamps.com, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia. And today I'm bringing you another technique with the embossing paste that's new this year in Stampin' Up's 2017-2018 annual catalogue. It's like working with icing or frosting, and you can see it on page 201 of the annual catalogue, and it's $11.50 for a jar, and it goes quite a long way. You can also get the 4 pattern party decorative masks. They're $10 for the 4, and you can get a set of palette knives. So you get 3 palette knives, a trowel, a diamond trowel, and a Scotty knife, apparently they're called. So you get the 3 of those palette knives for $9. So today we're going to be looking at embossing your embossing paste, and I've got 3 samples to show you. This first sample was with copper embossing powder, and I heat set it almost straight away, and it's got like an antique-y patina to it. It's sort of bubbly and a bit rough, but it looks just gorgeous. Now, I haven't made cards because I wanted you to see the whole of the pattern. So this is using the diamond pattern. So that's the one I did. This one I let dry for a little while, but obviously not quite long enough. And it's got a thicker coating of paste over it, and then silver embossing. And then this one is the medallion one on Tranquil Tide, and I actually let it dry overnight. So you put the embossing paste on, then you put your powder on, and I let it dry overnight, and it's a different pattern again when it's finished. So I'll make those into cards and put them on my blog for you. But we'll have a go at it today. We're going to do one finished and one unfinished. So I'll start with the unfinished one, and I'm just going to use the diamond pattern again. And on this one I think I'll use the gold embossed powder. So I just put my stencil down and get my embossing paste, and as you know, I've invented a new word for embossing paste, and that's glob. So just choose your palette knife of choice, and today I'm going to use this diamondy shaped one. Not sure what it's called. It does have a name. It must be the offset trowel, I'm guessing. That's what this one's called. Alright, so just get a glob on my palette knife, and I just close the aluminium over my embossing paste and pop the lid on. I don't screw it on in case I've got any left over that I want to put back. So again, I'm just going to go for a bit of a corner. Not sure what sort of card I'll make, but I'm just going to go for a corner piece here, and then down up to the point, sort of at a diagonal. And this is a fairly thin coating of embossed paste, and I'm working on a craft sheet because I find clean up with that is quite easy. Right, I think that'll do. And I'm just going to pop the rest in my jar. Alright, so that one's on Berry Burst, and I'm just going to put that to one side for a moment, and we'll do the embossing on it in a minute. Don't seem to have enough fingers and thumbs here. I'm just going to take off what's on the edge here. Alright, so I'll put that to one side, and then I'm going to bring in my powder pink, and I'm going to do the same sort of technique. I think I'm getting embossing paste everywhere. Alright, so same sort of technique. So I'll pick up a glob on my palette knife, and I've got to order another jar of this paste. I've used it so often, I love it. And I'm just going to put another coating of this on the powder pink, and then we're going to heat set one of them in a minute. You can see what I mean by it bubbling. Alright, so I'm just going to even that off a bit. So this one will be a thicker covering, and I want it sort of, I never was much good at icing, so I want it sort of fairly even. Alright, pop the lid back on my embossing paste. Alright, I'm going to lift this up off the powder pink. So we can go ahead now and put some embossing powder on. I'll just flip that over. Alright, on this one I'm going to put the gold emboss powder, so it's still wet, and that's what you want to do. Don't let it dry because the emboss powder won't stick to it. So we're just going to put a nice covering of emboss powder. This is the gold embossing powder from Stampin' Up. I'll just turn it around. I do work on cardstock that's a little bit bigger than I need, simply because sometimes you get a bit of embossed powder like I have on the edges and it's a bit messy, so I like to have enough so I can trim off. And you need to make sure when you're putting your embossed powder on that you get all the edges. So if you can have a look along this one here, you can see some white. So I need to go back and make sure those edges are covered with embossed powder, and you just knock it off and then leave that to dry, and then come back later and heat set it. So I'll put that to one side for the moment. Alright, now this one on the powder pink, I'm going to do this with the copper embossed powder, and then we're going to heat set it so you can actually see what happens when you dry it with your heat tool. So it's just two methods, two different ways of doing it, which will yield different results, and it's just personal preference as to what you like. I quite like the result you get when you heat set it straight away. I don't dislike the other one. I like to sort of get things done fairly quickly, so I guess that's why I like the heat set straight away. There's a place for both in your card making, and if you've got time to leave something dry for a while. So it needs to dry for about 30 minutes, I suppose, in winter, probably not quite so long in summer. So in with the heat tool, and this is going to be a bit noisy. I might see if I can cut the noise off in the video and you just watch how it heats up. So warm up your heat tool, have it on setting 2.
Hey, if you wanna play, make it a better place. It'll take creation, imagination. Try to draw outside the line. Let us see inside your mind. You'll find inspiration. All I'm saying is you can do it. I wanna hear you say, I am independent. from what is in your heart. Let the magic start. You're in charge. Yes, you can.
So you can heat it for quite some time to get different effects. This one's quite raised. Reminds me a bit of those old-fashioned doors with all the studs all over them. So that'll make a lovely background for a card, and it's got lots of texture. It's just beautiful. The other sample we made today, I'll let it dry overnight and I'll make a card and put it up on my blog. So there are two ways of using embossing powder with your embossing paste, and I'm sure there are many other ways, and they're just the two ways I've used. There are probably other ways out there to do it, but have a go. It's lots of fun and it adds lots of texture and interest to your card. So my mind's bubbling over with lots of ideas of what I can do. So anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for stopping by. Bye for now.
I wanna hear you shout.